everyone, and welcome to our first hike back on the hills since I was away in Oman with the British Army. It's just me and Cody today up the summit in 2 Munros. Got the information about them just here. Bit of a slog coming up here, so we are quite tired, so we're having a rest on one of the sub-summits just so we can get a good view of the main summit itself. We're hoping to get both done today. It's a bit cold and we haven't got long before the actual sun goes down. It's going to be about 3:40 before the sun goes down, so we need to get these ones done quick. Because of the limited time, we actually started just before sunup, but I knew for a fact that we were going to still be coming down in the dark as well. I was prepared for this. I had a decent head torch and I'm also capable of navigating in the dark. Once you head down the train tracks and head up these stairs, there's a large stone just off the left that indicates the path to go to. The path does continue off to the right, so make sure you don't go the wrong way. You're faced with a narrow dirt track heading up through the woods. It is quite steep and there's a lot of kind of rocky sections you've got to clamber over. It's pretty hard going at this point. This must be the worst section of the whole route, but thankfully it doesn't last forever, and eventually the views do start to open up as you get higher along the route itself. There is a large stile to cross at a certain point once you come out of the woods. There is a little bit you can see here for your dog. You just lift it up and your dog can get underneath. After the stile you start heading across this open terrain towards the dam itself. For us, because it was really cold, there was ice sheets everywhere, so I'd imagine this would be an absolute bog fest if you came up on the wrong time of the year. There is a kind of rocky path that takes you up, but again it's got the potential to be overflowing with water, bog, all that kind of good stuff. From your start point all the way up into the dam, there's nothing that's going to hinder your ascent. It's really just a bit of a pain in the ass to get through the woods and then this open area here. Once you get to the bridge, cross that, and then you're on a decent road all the way up to the dam. Those of you that are Star Wars fans may recognise this area from the Star Wars TV series Andor, where some of their episodes were filmed and they actually used the dam that you can see as an Imperial base. So being a Star Wars fan myself and recently watched Andor before I actually climbed these Munros, it was quite cool to actually be in the location where these episodes were filmed. We're not actually going up the traditional way to get to the summit. We're actually heading up towards one of the sub-summits that's just opposite Ben Cruachan. I'm just going there to see if I can get some good photos of the Munro itself from a neighbouring peak. The proper route you would take is once you've got to the dam, you then follow the road up that runs parallel with the reservoir. Eventually you will break track and head up a little valley in between the Munro and the peak that I'm heading for. Track looks actually quite decent, and once you reach the Bilac you will then turn right and head up towards the summit. is quite a steep ascent, especially at the start, as you can see. Bit gravelly track, and as you progress higher, it gets much worse. However, the views of the surrounding hills is spectacular. We got fantastic weather when we were going up, so we got to see everything. Especially at the time of year we went up, a lot of the peaks were all white from snow and frost, which just adds so much character to the hills. Eventually you do reach this big boulder field, heading closer to the summit. Some of it's not too bad, but there are some large sections of boulders which you'll have to kind of either go round, clamber over. Cody did kind of struggle at this point. Who am I kidding? We both struggled at this point. I'd lost a lot of my hill fitness because I hadn't been up in Monroe's for quite a while, and I'm sure the same could be said for Cody as well. The less time you spend in the hills, the less hill fitness you have, and being away from the hills for 3 months out in the desert clearly had an effect on us. After putting in maximum effort, the summit was finally in sight. I've been looking forward to doing these set of hills for a long time, and I really wanted a perfect day, and I'm really glad I actually got it. From the summit we could see everything all the way around us, 360 degrees. We could also see the ridgeline really clearly all the way to our second Monroe. You can't ask for a better welcome back to Scotland than the landscape that I got to see that day. After enjoying the views, it was time to start our descent towards the ridgeline and the bad step. We took our time coming off the summit because of the snow and ice. There's quite a few large boulders you're going to kind of lower yourself down, but if you take it slow and steady, you shouldn't have any major problems coming off the top. That also goes for your dogs as well, although there may be some of the boulders you may have to help them down from though. Once Cody and myself got to the bad step, I did a quick assessment on it and determined that it was a bit too dangerous to attempt it with me and Cody, especially being on the hills, in the snow, completely by ourselves, and there was not another soul on the hills. So that meant taking the bypass path. Once we got along the bypass path, it was time to get back along the ridge. Just on a side note, I do want to come back and do these Munros in the summer at some point and actually do the bad step. Hopefully this time with a little bit of assistance, just to give me that reassurance and that warm fuzzy feeling if anything went wrong. As you can see, Cody traverses this part of the ridge with ease. There's no big boulders for him to climb over, there's nothing like that to kind of slow him down. It was the same for myself, I actually really enjoyed this part of the route and there's nothing too difficult on it. After pushing along the ridge, it was now time for our final ascent up to Stob Death. Unfortunately, time was not on our side and I could actually see the sun starting to get really low in the sky at this point. Thankfully, as your last Munro of the day, it's also your easiest out of the two. As you can see, the terrain isn't too bad, grassy slopes with a decent gradient. There are a few rocky sections, but we made it up there in good time. all our hard work paid off as we finally got to the summit. Me and Cody couldn't even enjoy a moment on the top without having a phone call from Charlotte interrupting us as we're trying to film, as you could hear. Poppy and Charlotte had done these ones while I was away in Oman. They just didn't get the weather that I got. They were all claggy and couldn't actually get any views compared to what we got. In fact, I think the views speak for themselves. After leaving the summit, it was now a race against time to try and get as far down the descent as possible before I lost the light. As I said at the start of the video, I did have a head torch and I'm capable of navigating at night. However, I still wanted to get as far down as possible before I had to do these things. That being said, I still took time to enjoy the sunset and the scenery all around me. Otherwise, it just wouldn't be worth it. We're just heading down to the Belak now, where there's a ravine that you'll follow down towards the reservoir itself. I stick to the right hand side. It's a bit grassy at times, but there is a track that does appear eventually as you're going down. And once you get lower, you'll see a track that crosses over the stream that'll take you on the other side, and you'll just follow that all the way along till you get back to the dam. I'm pleased to say we got the vast majority of the descent out the way before we lost all the light. So it just meant getting to the dam in the dark and traversing the rest of the way over the open terrain, through the forest and back to our car. I'd like to thank you for watching this video. Please like, share and subscribe. It really helps the channel out a lot, and we shall see you on our next adventure.